What's up guys, it's Bizute, back with another Reddit video. Today it's r/MaliciousCompliance. Sit back, relax, we got a few stories for you guys. So, before we get into it, I just want to say thank you as always. I also want to say I hope you got your snacks as always. Come on, get the pea soup off of the stove, put it in a dish, and start eating, because this one's gonna get good. Alright guys, let's hop right into this one. Kid didn't like it? Not my problem. So this is both my first post and the first time I actually share this story. Sorry if it's a little short, but you know, it's not a perfect story. All good. So at this point, I must have been around 11 or 12, so I was just a naive little kid. I was with my friend, and my little brother, and dad. So you see, we live in a little British territory of Gibraltar, so it's not hard to find trouble at all. Enter Wild Entitled Kid. Me and N had just bought some Bean Boozled jelly beans, which, if you don't know, they are basically just jelly beans with one of two flavors that can be awful. Vomit or good blueberry. We were just messing around with the different flavors we had. All of a sudden, Entitled Kid asked for one. We say no, as it'll probably be an awful flavor, but he insists, so we maliciously comply, and give him the peach or vomit flavor. If it's not peach, let me know. He got vomit. He runs to his mom, a walking Karen stereotype, and now I don't remember the exact words, but I remember the gist of things that went down. Why did you give my son these awful beans? He wanted one. Oh yeah? If your mom wanted 100 pounds, would you give it to her? It depends on the circumstance. Stop being rude! You're the one who brought up their kid to let him think that it was okay to demand sweets from strangers. But it's your fault! For what? Warning your kid that the flavor could potentially be puke? She left. Next day I saw her in Morrison's, complete with her Entitled Kid. Mommy, look! The guy with the beans! She growled and quickly left. Wait, so you're telling me this grown woman growled at you? Like, we should probably get her checked out, maybe check her in some sort of animal hospital, because I don't think that's normal. Like, of all people I've experienced, I've never had an actual human being growl at me, so we need to call Bigfoot hunters or something. Also, or maybe the Property Brothers. Also, the kid wanted sweets. He shouldn't be asking strangers for sweets. We all know how that usually goes down, and it's not very good. So, you know, if you're a child, stay away from the person with the sweets, as always, specifically if they're driving a certain vehicle that I will not get into. And then you ended up giving him the sweet. It happened to be a vomit-flavored jelly bean, which is awful. I've had the Bean Boozled vomit before, and I don't know how they fit that flavor into that jelly bean. Like, they have to have somebody test these, don't they? Like, is someone testing these? Stop it. Stop it. Jelly Belly, no. So yeah, that was a pretty good story. We're just gonna get right into the next one, and I hope you guys enjoyed that one. The biggest one they have. This isn't super dramatic or anything, but it happened earlier today, and I'm still laughing about it. I was working as a cashier today, and this morning, a couple came into the store arguing. Their conversation went much like this. What were you thinking? You told me to get the biggest one. How was I supposed to know you didn't actually want the biggest one if you had told me the opposite? We have an 80-pound dog, not a horse! I was already intrigued, but I waited for them to approach me at the register. The husband looked sheepish, but the wife just looked very done with life. Apparently, the guy's wife had told him the previous night to get the biggest bowl they had. And so he had done exactly that. He had found the biggest bowl in the whole store, which is absolutely gigantic. This thing could literally be used to bathe a small child, and could even be used to hold Olympic swimming tryouts. Okay, the second statement is obviously an exaggeration, but seriously, this thing wasn't practically large. The husband was visibly pleased with himself and was having a hard time controlling his grin, but his wife apparently hadn't found the joke nearly as funny as the husband, and I did, because the reason they were in here today was to return this bowl and exchange it for a smaller one. Not a story of a lifetime, but it sure made my day. Right there we have a picture, and that thing is absolutely massive. He was not playing around. I'm assuming this is for like the dog to drink out of, considering they mentioned that they have an 80-pound dog and not a horse, and that dog is not finishing that water for a week. I also assume prior to the husband going out and getting this gigantic bowl, there was, you know, the woman was probably like, can you go out and get a new bowl? We need a new bowl. And it was probably like 9 p.m. at night. You know, Property Brothers was on. He keep coming back to Property Brothers. It's a great show. Property Brothers was on. He was like, oh, do I really have to go get it? And then she made him go get it. And then he's like, you know what? She said get the biggest one. I'm going to get the biggest one they have. If they had a bathtub, he'd probably get a bathtub. But I don't know what kind of store this is. But anyway, yeah, pretty solid story all around. So let's get right into the next one. I have to throw out all of this food? All right, if you say so. So to start this story, I thought it'd be better to explain a bit of history first. I worked at McDonald's where the food that was already cooked already was put in trays and the timer was supposed to set for an expiration. Once the time was up, the food needed to be thrown away and replaced. However, the store manager threatened any employees with warnings if we were to actually throw away the food. This eventually led to the timers not even being used and food was just replaced when it was used up. This is why a lot of McDonald's foods can be so kiwi, especially the fish that sat there for at least 4 hours before being used. Cut to when the area manager visited the store. He had noticed that there were no timers being used, the old food was sitting in the trays, and that there was barely any waste, which for McDonald's is very uncommon. He reams out to the store manager, which then reams out managers, which leads to us. I had the biggest grin because other employees weren't trained to handle food management, so I knew there was going to be so much waste. I sat there and watched everyone kiwi up their jobs, just for the end of the night when we had at least 2 full buckets of wasted food, compared to the usual 1/4 of one. The store manager called me the next day threatening my job as I had been the one to count up the food, and I simply replied with, "You told us to throw out the expired food. Is this not what we were supposed to do?" She then hung up without even saying a word, and I never heard about it again. Another story somewhat related. A manager thought it would be funny to put 100 cheeseburgers, about an hour before close, on the screen to see my reaction. While I knew it was a joke, I still had 50 of the patties down and about 20 of the buns through the machine before he realized I wasn't complaining. I could see him worrying so much, and he tried to blame me, but I just acted like the robot they expected, and I said I was just doing my job. One, I hope I never visited this McDonald's, because that sounds gross that they just left out all the food. Also, sometimes I like to get the Filet-O-Fish sandwiches. What are they trying to poison me? So yeah, I'm glad that, management was like, hold on a second, we gotta put them timers back in here because people are running to the bathroom. I'm sure that's not what they were doing, but they, just routine inspections. And then all of a sudden, they're like, hold on a second, this food has been out here for 4 hours. That's gross. This manager needs to be fired. That is absolutely disgusting. I can't believe McDonald's would let that happen. I mean, I guess they stopped it, but I don't know how long it was going on for. But yeah, also regarding the second story. So I guess the manager, did some good malicious compliance. He was like, what, we're gonna make him, worry him, be like, oh, there's 100 more right before it's about to close. And this man was like, I got it, no problem. And then he just started flipping the burgers, and then the manager tried to pin it on him. Like, what are you doing making 100 burgers? What do you mean, what am I doing? But I need my job. So yeah, let's get right into the next one. Not a quiet space? Okay. I was sitting in a computer lab doing a timed exam. There were 2 girls on a computer in front of me, talking and being loud. Eventually, I got tired of it and decided to say something. G1 is girl 1, and G2 is girl 2. Excuse me, some of us are trying to focus on stuff, so if you have to have a conversation, can you please be quiet or go outside to talk?
But this isn't this quiet space, so if you need quiet, use some headphones.
At this point, I was fed up listening to them, so I finished my exam. I still had more work to do, but I didn't have any headphones. At this point, I decided to get a little mischievous. I have a small but very loud Bluetooth speaker in my room, so I went back and grabbed it. I sat down and started playing my music as loud as possible, and then started doing work. The girls both started laughing, and after a few minutes, girl 1 turns to me.
Excuse me, you weren't complaining about us being too loud, but you're making a bunch of noise.
Yeah, you were right. This isn't a quiet space, so I'm listening to my music.
Yeah, but you were saying how it was annoying, and now...
I'm sorry, if you have a problem with my music, then you could use some headphones, ma'am.
But you should be aware of the people around you and that the space for
I'm sorry, I can't hear you, it's too loud. Girl 2 gives up, but girl 1 still wants to talk.
I just think it's funny how...
At this point, I began focusing back on my work. I'm sorry, what?
I was just...
Sorry, I can't hear you. I think this might be my favorite one of the entire episode. I really enjoyed this one. People are just gonna be loud and obnoxious. It's like, you politely ask them, excuse me, can you please be quiet or take it elsewhere? Just doing some work, I'm not gonna be long. And then they're just like,
well, this actually isn't a quiet place, so I'm actually allowed to talk at a high decibel and you can't do anything about it.
I bet. And he goes, gets his Bluetooth speaker, and he probably plays some, Andrea Bocelli or something loud, So shout out to this dude for not backing down to the 2 obnoxious girls and being like, all right, if you're gonna be loud, I'm gonna be loud too. I need my Bluetooth speaker directly into my ear at the highest volume to study. So, that's the way it works. So yeah, guys, that's gonna do it for this one. I hope you all enjoyed this one to the fullest extent that you could. If you did enjoy it, you can hit that like button and you can let me know why you enjoyed it, help me get better, help me learn. If you didn't like it, you could always hit that dislike button too. Tell me why you did not like it, which will also help me better. Which will also help me get better and help me learn. So, like, dislike, you have the option. And you also have the option to comment. You also don't have to comment why you liked it or disliked it. You could just leave a random comment, and that comment could say, there is a partridge pear tree stuck inside of my wooden door. And I will look at that comment, and I will go heart like, and I will reply to it as always. So guys, thank you so much for watching this one. Leave a comment on what you want me to see do next. I do r/MaliciousCompliance, r/ProRevenge/Nuclear Revenge, and r/Entitled Parents as the main ones, and sometimes I sprinkle in some other extra ones or whatever, just some random ones. Also, going to be doing some commentary videos, so if you have any ideas for commentary videos, if you have any ideas of which Reddit you want me to read, let me know and I will get around to them, and I will make sure to look at the stories and read them for you guys. So, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure as always, and yeah, it's been Bizute.